ride together, we die together. Bad boys for life. Get busy living or get busy dying.
Gang first, last. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Welcome to Brews and Reviews with Mick and Pat. I'm Mick.
And I'm Pat.
And each week we sit down with you degenerates to pretend we're certified cicerones and cinephiles.
That is right. So grab a cold one and join us as we review True Brewing's Siren and True Detective Night Country Season 4, Part 2.
And if you've been with us before, you know what time it is.
Release the Kraken!
Synchronicity.
That was pretty, it's like we've been doing this for a year now.
Mm-hmm. Man, that smells good. Can they miss? Can they miss?
I was trying to think over my head, and I should just open up Untapped to go look, but did we give Skullseeker also a 4 thumbs?
I think we did.
Damn, bro.
So-
True Brewing, first brewery to get 2 4-thumbers out of us. That's crazy, dude.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so once again, we're back with True Brewing and True Detective. We have decided it is worth it for the brewery and worth it for the show that we're going to keep reviewing their beers and reviewing the show as these episodes come out and unfold. I think it'll be fun to kind of go over sort of all the fan fiction and things like that in this season 4. They're starting to and seeming to allude to the fact they are going to really bring some stuff full circle and fun things like that. So we think that it'll be enjoyable for True Detective fans to kind of get to break down what's been a 10-year journey at this point because it came out so long ago.
Yeah, and it's like one of those things like we don't really want to do an episode by episode breakdown if we don't really feel hooked by the show.
Mm-hmm.
But episode 2 still kept my attention. Pat, seems like it kept you interested and involved.
Mm-hmm. I think we should do episode breakdown of all of the show 24.
Hour by hour, minute by minute.
And every episode's going to end with the doop, beep, doop, doop, doop.
I've never watched 24 ever.
Really?
Because so many people talked about it that I
Yeah.
felt like I knew the whole show.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
It might be too late now. It's too late now probably to catch on to it. But enough about TV. We're talking about beer also. And we got True Brewing Co. out of Denver, Colorado in their brew pub. They have a Music City hot chicken and metal music playing if you want to check them out and have some of what might be some of the best beer and some pretty dang good hot chicken while you listen to people screaming.
Also, good news for those of you who aren't in Colorado. They are opening soon a brewery in North Carolina, in Asheville.
Really?
Yeah, which is ironic because that's also the first place New Belgium opened up outside of our little local town here. And so with that, it's one of those things where it seems like Asheville is just going to become another poppin' small brewery, craft brewery town.
Yeah. Wow.
But good news is once that's done, I think they'll be a lot more widely available. Hopefully so.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't dip their quality though,
I don't think they will. Hopefully they don't just like hook onto one thing. They're like, yeah, so we're True Brewery, but now every beer is a version of the Siren.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hint, hint.
Yeah. I don't know
Shots fired at New Belgium.
I don't know, dude. I don't know if I have faith in that, dude.
I do. I believe it. They seem different. They seem cut from different cloth.
Yep. They're different for now.
They don't give their employees a bicycle at their 5-year anniversary. They give them a blood sacrament.
A brand.
Yeah. A brand. Yeah.
They're just rowdy.
They give them a robe.
Oh man, that's creepy. Ooh.
All the pictures, they seem like totally chill people.
Oh yeah.
They seem so down to earth and normal and not like nearly as culty as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. That's like we said last week about some of the metalheads out there. So might be some of the nicest people you ever meet.
Truth. Very true.
But Siren, it is a Saison. And on the can here, we have, once again, some incredible artwork working. The full moon rising behind the rocky, bone-covered shore. And we're staring into the eyes of the dead-looking eyes of a zombie bride mermaid. There's no bridal things on there, but, just kind of like...
I think that's just a siren.
Yeah.
The thing from folklore.
Yeah, but there's an element to sirens. It's always they're a little bit grabby, touchy. Mm-hmm. They're reaching out for your business. Mm. And they're going to kill you. There's a skull in the water. There's some bones on the rocks. There's some foreshadowing of what's going to come. But traditionally, many sirens are, portrayed in Greek mythology as these kind of beautiful, flowery mermaids on the rocks who call you in, and kind of you end up getting dashed upon the rocks like old Odysseus almost did if he didn't have his troop tie him up to the mast. Because if you don't know the story, when he was in the ocean, he wanted to hear the siren songs, and so he made his whole crew shove like sheep's wool or something down in their ears so they couldn't hear the song and they could pilot the ship, and he had them tie him to the mast so that he could hear the songs. And he said, no matter what I do, no matter how much I command you to go over to the sirens, do not do it. Keep a straight course, men. They were in the middle of that thirst trap. November, and they were trying to make it through, but he needed to at least hear what it was all about. And so, anyways, the art on here, it's this siren reaching her hand out of the water for you. You can tell she's coming for your soul in this picture.
Yeah, dude, and you know what? Who's to say that's not up in the Bering Sea off the coast of Alaska, right? Full moon, 30 days of night, rocky shore. Mm-hmm. It could be in the same locale.
Definitely could. I agree.
But anyways, I guess before we take our sips, anything else you want to say, Pat?
Well,
what is a saison?
Well, it is a beer that was traditionally brewed by the Belgian folks back in the day, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. The French Belgians. I'm not sure how that works.
Well, French lost the war.
Yeah. So the French Belgians. And anyways, the name Saison is the word season, basically, because it was a beer that was brewed in the winter.
Yes. Good.
And
I was going to catch
drank in the summer. And they had trouble. This beer was a breakthrough back in the day because they had trouble making beers shelf stable for a long time without them going. And so when Saisons came around, they were something that they could stock up on in the winter months, making it, brewing it, and it'd be ready for the summer, and it'd still be good to go. And yeah, that's what I know about Saisons. I know it's a summer beer, and it's the winter time. And last week we were freezing our little nads off in here, and it's still cold outside today, but it's a 60-degree swing difference.
Oh yeah,
so
it's crazy.
It feels like it's
last week negative 20 something to now we're at like 40.
Yeah, so it feels like it's time for a little
summer beer,
beer action.
It was almost too warm for my layers, man. I almost had to take my vest off. Yeah, it's I will say I'm used to most saisons. Saison. How do you say that, Pat, in French?
I don't know.
Wow, you usually do the good French accent.
I was like, saison? I don't know.
Saison. Anyways, but I'm used to them being more sour oriented. I think a saison was one of the first sour beers I ever had. Like that was really categorized as a sour beer. It had that like almost vinegariness to it. Mm-hmm. And I really don't think this one's sour at all. I think this one is... That's not a bad thing, but it doesn't remind me of that kind of more vinegar, fermented, almost wine flavor that I feel like I associate with a lot of saisons. And I think La Folie from New Belgium was the first sour I had. Or they considered it sour at the time, but it was a saison, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's getting some... kind of champagne-y.
You think so?
Just like...
Because we said that a few weeks ago about the Pilsner.
Yep.
About it having that apple flavor.
Yep.
And I don't know if I think the same here.
I think it's less the apple flavor and more it is still the crispy dryness of it, or also in it's just that feeling on my tongue, that kind of tingly. I have a tingly, numb feeling on my tongue when I drink it. So we'll see what the.
I just really don't think I taste that much fruitiness, and I'm used to saisons being fruity.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the truth is here, I'm going to say this.
Mm-hmm.
It tastes balanced.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a weird way to describe a beer.
Mm-hmm.
It tastes like a meal.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something about it that feels like I'm getting a little savory.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Some protein? I don't know how else to describe it, dude. Like, literally, the sip of it makes me think like food, meal.
Hmm.
And I don't know how else to describe it. You ever see those like old school commercials where they joke about how in the future you just pour water on a little tablet and it'd spring into like a full turkey roast, mashed potato stuffing meal?
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, that image is just coming to my mind as I taste it. And it's not like all those flavors combined, but it definitely has like I don't know, it just has a very full, robust taste to it, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Some people describe saisons as spicy. Like, and I think by spicy as in like, cloves and seasoning and spices, around that kind of stuff, like what you would spice mulled wine with or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I almost want to say that's kind of not mulled wine or cloves, but I do think there's like a spice element in this, something that gives it that savory profile.
Yep, I agree. I think it does feel.
I think it's citrusy, but without being sour. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that?
Yeah.
I feel like that's actually pretty accurate.
A little bit of that. I feel like it is, a little bit of citrusy in there. And I don't know, I just feel like I'm getting, like a very dry champagne-y type taste in my mouth too. But maybe the push it through your teeth test, the old swish test, will tell us what's going on.
Just the push it through your teeth. All right, folks, you know what to do. Tablespoon them out. Let it roll over all of your tongue. Go down the sides, between your molars and tongues, and then swish it from side to side. And then put your tongue to the roof of your mouth and push that tongue forward to push it through the front of your teeth. Get it nice and aerated. And while I'm doing that, Pat's going to give us his thoughts on it. What you getting there? Your face is looking confused. It looks like you don't know how to describe what you're tasting.
I don't, because it is like it's spicy on the back of my tongue. Feels like I've got some, it like burned the back of my tongue. Not in a bad way. Just had some burn going on there.
Wow. I don't know how to describe that, dude.
That was the main part, like the main part of my tongue that I tasted something was on the far back part and the very tip.
Whoa. You know what? The way you're just talking for some reason triggered a repressed memory of mine.
Yeah.
And all of this kind of sounds like we're describing the New Belgian Holiday Ale. Like of what it was shooting for. I think this tastes to me like a holiday ale. Like this to me doesn't taste like a summer beer. This tastes like kind of Christmassy a little bit. Maybe that like spiciness to it. Being a lighter beer, having those kind of citrusy notes, but not sour, not an IPA. I don't know, dude. I have no idea how to describe this, to be honest. I'm like perplexed. This doesn't taste like any other Saison I've had. And spicy. I don't know. I'm literally at a loss for words, Pat.
Yeah.
Help me out. Fill in the blank.
I don't know. It is because the Saison is technically a pale ale in the pale ale area of things. And it's known for being, having fruity, spicy, and carbonated attributes. They're just highly carbonated. And so I feel like this tastes like a lot of the beers I had while I was in France. Like this was if you just went and grabbed beer off the shelf, this was it. I can't pinpoint the flavor, but there's even a flavor in here that's kind of like the the Padu beer we had.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of what is. Whoa, dude! I just stuck my nose in there and took a whiff.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of smells like an animal.
Like an animal?
Kind of smells. Bro.
It's that later smell. You get like the...
Yeah, literally, legit kind of smells like livestock. Like not poop, but like, you ever smell like a goat or like a horse?
Yeah.
Tell me that doesn't kind of smell like a donkey, bro. Like the hair.
Yeah, there's something
the mane.
There's something in there that's a little pungent. Not in a
but
bad way.
Not in a bad way. It's weird. It's like everybody likes their own smell. No, dude, that's wow. That smell is a whole new profile to it too. I didn't get that at all when I was taking a sip.
We just emailed them, and this is going to be the one they hear.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I'm not saying anything bad. Okay, I guess, dude. I mean, I think it's just because maybe I'm used to saisons being sour and citrusy or fruitier. Mm-hmm. So maybe I just need to reassess. But yeah, what you said about the Padu,
The Padu, something like that.
It does remind me of that a lot. Mm-hmm. Was that a saison or was that just a? Because I remember that one having a little bit of a champagniness to it too.
It's a Belgian style.
Belgian style.
It was a Belgian. Was it a Belgian triple?
Maybe, I can't remember. Padu. All this French stuff. You could tell I'm uncultured.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking it up. It's a Belgian triple.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool. Yeah, it definitely has those notes. Maybe it's just Belgian beer. You know, maybe that's what we just need to rest. Like this is a Belgian saison, and most of the saisons we have are not. All that said, you ready to give it some thumbs, dude, or not give it thumbs? I don't want to. I don't want to impression you.
Yeah.
All right. A beer that is yummy, but I certainly don't think it has any bad taste. The Swish test didn't make it taste bad, just definitely brought out the profile of different spices to me. Mm-hmm. And overall, pretty mild beer. It's a light beer for sure. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to give it a thumb up. And I think I'm giving it a thumb up just because I have a lot that I'm not sure on about it. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot I don't understand as I'm tasting it and trying to figure out. And none of that is bad.
Because maybe they're just nailing it.
Maybe.
Like what it's supposed to be.
But there's nothing, like, you know, like how we tried the Bears. When we did the Bear, we did the Pilsner for Anderson Valley, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I was like, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good Pilsner, but they seem to just be a little too hoppy with it. Mm-hmm. Like I found something I didn't like, even though overall it's pretty good beer. Mm-hmm. Even though I'm still figuring this beer out, there's nothing that I don't like. Mm-hmm. Like I like the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So, and it doesn't feel like half-assed. You know what I mean? So all I said, while I'm still figuring out what the heck's going on with it, I like it. And I'm going to give it a thumb up because at the end of the day, I can't think of anything bad to say about it. And it's not like I can think of a better saison. I'm not saying it's the best one I've had. I haven't had a lot. Mm-hmm. Saisons are usually kind of the sours I skip when I'm looking for a sour beer. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it gets a thumb for me.
I'm going one thumb as well.
Up?
One thumb up.
Okay,
I was
right.
tempted to go 0 thumbs.
I was tempted too, but then I was literally thinking I have nothing critical to say.
I feel like why it's getting a thumb is because of what I just said about how like most of the beers I had in France tasted just very similar to this. And there's something about the French beers and the Belgian styles that just have a very, I think I said this before, like, you know, when you see an old dog, not an old dog that's about to kick the bucket, but you see a breed of dog that just looks like it's been around for a long time. Yeah. You know, like,
Cocker Spaniel,
mountain sheep dogs, and like, you know, not a Shih Tzu. You know, it just looks like they've had 10,000 years of time and experience.
Like this thing stays the way it is.
Yeah, that's what this is. You know, this is just like, I feel like they brewed this in the way that it's just been around in this way for a very long time, and they didn't mess it up. So I'm going one thumb. Mm-hmm. You know, so
yeah, no, I agree.
That's where I'm at.
Well, I'm happy about it because I mean, it's just like one of those things. Like I'm rooting for True Brewery now.
Oh yeah,
I'm rooting for them hardcore because like not only are they like the first brewery to like pretty much get the 2-4 thumbers. They just have a good vibe, you know what I mean? And they're kind of a little bit of an underdog when it comes to like the big breweries. So, all I said, 2 thumbs up for the Siren here at the Mick and Pat show. Go ahead and check it out. It's still in stock at most most liquor stores I see here in Colorado. So, get it if you can. If you don't have it near you, see if you can order it. There's a lot of online ordering of beers lately. So, all right, Pat. Which is kind of interesting that my transition for this episode, right, is actually the lyrics to the. Of course, I'm not going to have it up right here. But do you remember the song for the intro of season 1, True Detective?
Oh, I know I'll remember it right when I hear it.
Yeah, it's called Far From Any Road by the Handsome Family. And, the first line is like, it's just a plucking strum. And it's like, from the dusty mesa, her looming shadow grows. Hidden in the branches of the poison creosote. And I think... Oh, yeah, like the last line of like the first chorus is, and when I touch her skin, my fingers ran with blood. And I'm just like, dude, sounds to me like this man's falling for some siren in the desert.
Yeah, dude.
Which he kind of is, that whole song's about falling, like looking for a flower in the desert and dying when you find it. All I said, episode 2, True Detective, seems like we're getting more and more into this allure of who is she? That is awake. Is she the woman murdered, her spirit? And we get a lot more questions this episode than we do answers, but some pretty solid answers are provided subtly, not in your face. And I'm pretty excited about those answers because while we were getting this episode ready, there was just some information that I was able to kind of put together and piece together. And I'm excited to talk with you about it. But let's just kind of, get into a review. And I'll say this, currently user reviews, not very positive of this episode, which was surprising to me because I thought it was it the best 45 minutes of TV? No, nothing really is there, right? It's hard to be a memorable episode in a series often. And I thought this was a totally fine episode, but a lot of people are saying it was boring. The acting was bad. The writing was bad. And so I guess before we get into our theories and kind of breaking down what we noticed throughout the episode, what do you think? Like it's obviously good enough because I texted you about it and you were like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do an episode by episode breakdown.
I think that they're not necessarily wrong about some of the writing and acting and directing. Where it's standing on the shoulders of season 1.
Okay.
That's why I'm engaged. Because of my love for the season 1 and the things it's pulling threads on. I'm like, I want to know what's happening. I want to see how this story plays out. But that being said, like if you're comparing it to season 1, which is also just a very hard thing to do because the reason why this show's is still on, it only has 4 seasons in 10 years is really big in part because that first season was so dang good. Right. So it's like, it's going to be hard to please and hit all the things that you're wanting to get out of it with that sort of expectation and bar set. And so but remembering back to the first time I watched the scenes of, Detective Rust being interviewed, smoking a cigarette, drinking a Lone Star, when he's got his long, scraggly hair, and he's given kind of the story background of what happened, and also kind of given philosophy lessons on life.
Time is a flat circle.
Yeah, and all that stuff, and you're like, what the hell's going on? I really want to keep watching this. This is so like that gripping thing that was going on isn't going on for me in this, which is okay.
It's so interesting to me.
But the overall arc and plot of pulling what seems to be like maybe pulling season 1 into this season. That's the part I am enjoying. So, because if you took out those pieces and just had this show running as a standalone thing, it'd be a good TV show, and it may be actually doing better because people won't be comparing it to season 1. But at the same time, it'd probably just be another TV show.
See, I guess, I mean, all right, let me just say some things.
Mm-hmm.
I want to acknowledge, one, that I think my wife and I, Billie Jean, while we were watching, both noticed a couple points where we thought like, that she's awful. She's an awful actress.
Mm-hmm.
Or, oh, he's okay. And I genuinely think that, unfortunately, but like, just to be honest, the sister to Navarro is not a good actress. I mean, when she's like, I'm not mom, don't make me go there, they medicated me, it sucked, it was horrible, I was just like, dude, this chick sucks. Like, but also I think I've just never really seen a lot of people do, I can't think of one person who did the angsty teen well that I enjoyed. And the actress playing the daughter for Danvers, Leah Danvers, played by Isabella LeBlanc. It's just a little too, like, there's no part of you that wants her to win. Like, she doesn't get it, and she keeps bringing the issue up at like a time when it's like, can't you see as an adult your parent is overwhelmed? Are you literally just bringing this issue up to, like, poke needles and push their buttons? Which, don't get me wrong, Danvers doesn't seem like a great surrogate mom or whatever. But all that said, I do think there's occasionally a bad actor or actress in the show. I think for the most part, like, I think Jodie Foster's great. I think Navarro's doing great. Like, her name is Kale or Kali Rice. I think she's doing good. I'm not like the biggest fan of this like depiction of, I don't know, like, it's not that it's like I have a problem with how they're depicting her as a cop. It's kind of just like, maybe what I think of, like, from my experience in law enforcement stuff, the standards and acceptableness of like cops with tattoos and piercings is different than what it really would be out in the boonies of Alaska. Right. She's a state trooper, which still makes me think like, they probably tell you to take your piercings out during work. But at the same time, it's not like I have beef with it. It doesn't really disrupt the show for me. It's just like one of those things that I was like, I could suspend disbelief. Like, I don't know anyone who's been a state trooper out in Alaska.
Right.
So,
or in native populations.
Yeah, right. So all that said, I'm also a big fan of John Hawkes and what he's been in, and Christopher Eccleston, who played Captain Connolly. He was in the show called The Leftovers, where he was this brother who was he was like a pastor in this show where it seems like the rapture happens, and he's kind of like, he's on paper like the Christian guy who should go when the rapture happens. And he just really was an all-star in that show. He was great in it, and I think he's fine here. He's kind of a little bit of comedic relief. I don't got any problem with it. I thought it was fine, and I thought that comedy works. But I also think, like, like you're talking about, riding on the laurels of season 1. And I think that's, really what every season has done. And I think that's why season 3 was such a success. Because season 3 was just, like, essentially, like, we get season 1 again. Just a different story. And in the end, it's not as dark. And season 2 didn't work, I think, because it really felt like a very disjointed, unbelievable story, at least from the people I talked to about it. Right, I've never watched it,
and with forced side stories, which, for instance, like in this one, the Danvers daughter, like, is her side story gonna come back in to matter at all? Like, okay, so the teenager snuck out, and I have to watch these people you know,
They sunk out, they make out, probably had sex
right,
at
whatever.
a store.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever's going on here. And just like the, because I have such like a pander radar
Yeah.
that goes off, I'm just like, all right, like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Unless if this ties back into the story in a great way.
Yeah.
Or is this just like, you know, just cuz, right?
Yeah, and like I think it will. I think it will. I don't know how it will, but I agree with you. Like part of me was like, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
At the end though, what happened? She's going to Lights and Sirens at the end of the episode.
That she's just going to the crime scene. Like,
yeah, that's right.
Well,
that's
she
right.
just ends up walking in, or,
yeah.
or the new,
the
thawing room.
Yeah. Which, you know, maybe that's like the whole thing to like, it explains how
she got there.
And Peter, right? Peter?
Yeah, how they're connecting and like.
Yeah. I still am not sure if Leah Danvers is the sister to Peter's wife.
Right. Or
because it also seems so out of left field when Danvers shows up to Peter's house to like
play with the kid and takes her boots off
and right after telling Peter like you're not going home tonight to your wife and kid, and then she stops at the house. I'm like, this seems wildly inappropriate for a supervisor to do.
It's either small town stuff or like I would assume in a town like that you have lots of cousins.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
like,
lots of cousins.
Like and like someone's grandma is also someone else's aunt to like 10 other people, right? So I don't know. There may be some family relation there, but it definitely hasn't been like clearly laid out for us.
I will say the other thing that like was a little hard for me to suspend disbelief was in this small town. This is probably the biggest murder case that has occurred. Or like not maybe they weren't ready to call it murder yet, but like these dudes frozen in the ice, limbs sticking out all over the place, frozen 6 feet down, 5 feet down. And in the beginning, the only person who seemed to be reacting with appropriate horror and fascination, trying to make sense of it, was Navarro and Danvers. And then like these other cops from the precinct were like
grab ass dudes.
Yeah, they're just like taking selfies. And I was like, I don't think any of these dudes from, you know, the middle of nowhere, Alaska, would not be like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And,
like they would all be perplexed by that.
And they'd all be like, the two ththings, the things I see would happen are one, they wouldn't be like TikToking it.
Yeah.
Because they'd be Alaskan boys who are like, no, I don't, maybe there's lots of TikToking with Alaskan boys. I don't know. But two, I think for any young cop to be on a scene like that, you know what they're going to do? They're going to be kind of half chubbed to do their job.
Yeah.
You know, like,
excited.
Like, oh my God.
Got an opportunity.
Like, oh, it's happening. This is the Super Bowl.
And the captain's saying we're not giving it to Anchorage, that we're keeping it local. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I get to make my name.
And so there's a little bit that's not how it would have happened, I don't think.
But I mean, it also like, I didn't think it was bad. I just thought, I was like, that's hard for me to believe as someone who has been around like, dude, I've been around guys who just get excited because they get to write a report on a fight because that's exciting, you know, let alone being there and being like, is this a murder? What the hell caused this?
Right.
You know, so all that said,
and just being totally scared out of your pants. They weren't even scared. Like they were just like jacking around like, dude, it'd be freaking scary.
I mean, I was scared watching it. I'll be honest. Like, and so that's why like, it's kind of interesting to me too, when I hear people who are like, this is boring, this writing's bad. I'm like, this to me is way more intriguing as a premise right now than season one's. I like season one a lot, but season one's premise initially in the first 2 episodes of prostitute murdered by some crazy guy putting up stick dolls and tattoos. Like that's not that new.
Right.
But what does get 8 isolated, very dedicated people to their work guys to run out naked in the cold, and then who is there to observe them die, and then shows remorse though by properly folding their clothes and stuff. So also, dude, when that one guy is screaming with his head out of the ground,
oh yeah,
that reminded me of The Thing. Like that was like such a callback to The Thing. And that's probably one of my favorite horror movies of all time, right? But like the way his head twists as he's like trying to like scream and move. The only thing I wasn't clear about with that was that when that dude, someone pulled an arm out.
Yeah, was that his arm?
And that's why he's screaming? I couldn't tell. But because the next scene, you know, they reveal like when we come back from the intro, it's like he's in the hospital. They're probably going to amputate both his legs. He's in a medically induced coma. No one's talking to him anytime soon. And it's like, holy smokes, dude. But I mean, it like chilled me. I remember my wife and I were both like, we had like started muttering, I think, about the cops not taking it seriously. And then when that dude screamed, like my butthole puckered up.
Yeah, it's
I went straight up. I'm like, what's going on? So I don't really have any other complaints. I think it's fine. I'm not, I don't agree with like the writing, the overall statement that the writing's bad or the acting's bad. I haven't seen that yet, especially when I just like watched Reacher season 2. And I literally watched that show out of hate.
Yeah.
Like I watched it with my wife during lunch to hate on it. You know what I mean? Like,
That's funny.
It was funny. Well, like, dude, Night Agent? Come on, man.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a great show to come on after American Idol.
yeah, the writing and acting of that
that's what
versus
it
this
is.
are like miles apart.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, it's not the writing and acting of season 1. And that's okay.
It is okay.
Because that is a high bar.
Yeah, and it's also a different writer too. Like I know that the guy who produced and wrote season 1 is still around helping produce this one and advise. But the writer is also the lady who's directing. And so like personally, now that we're kind of getting into the other stuff, unless there's anything else you want to gripe about.
No, I'm enjoying it.
Sure.
I just think that I'm more excited about the big story than
I
the
agree.
current little story.
Yeah, me too. I think there's credit to give to this Issa Lopez, who's writing it with Nick. I want to give her credit to like, it doesn't feel like fan service to me. Like the callbacks and attention to season 1 details and plot lines doesn't feel like fan service yet. It might eventually, but to me so far, it feels like she's paying attention, working with Nick to like the narrative he created. And it's like there's a lot of subtlety that I think is like as a fan, there's a lot of subtlety that I missed that is connected to season 1 that I like didn't pick up when watching the episode, and a good amount that like I wondered, and I was like, I've heard that. That's familiar. Why is that so familiar? It's probably a season 1 reference, and like and sure enough, it is. And so I don't know. How do you feel about that? Like in the direction, like because you know you've already kind of pointed out like you are enjoying its references to season 1, and it is standing on those references a little bit.
Yeah, and I think as far as this director goes, like she's been at it for a quarter of a century, and she's just really kind of made a lot of stinkers.
Oh, has she?
Yeah. So which is like there's been a couple like okay ones in there.
Like what? Give me some.
I mean, like you wouldn't even know of them. Like you never even heard of them. You know. But then like to get handed True Detective and handle it pretty well.
As well as it's going so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Impressive.
I mean, I'd watch this before I watched season 2.
Yeah, for sure.
Or The Night Agent. Anyways, okay, but part 2, right? You know, we're delving in here into the town's dynamics a little bit more. We get a little bit more insight on Danvers and Navarro's past relationship. I have a theory about that of like why it seems not like I'd hire you back. Because in episode 1, I thought she kind of pushed her into the state patrol because she wanted her to have a career, and she didn't think there was going to be a career for her and Enos. Episode 2 makes me think like Danvers actually disdains Navarro.
Yeah, and
like,
Navarro messed up on something. And
what do you think it is? Because I have my idea.
I mean, I think it has to be around the Annie case.
I don't think it is. I don't think it's got anything to do with Annie.
Or I guess, and then if not that, I don't know. Maybe something with maybe Here's
Okay.
I do know that the lady who owns the mine hates both of them.
But she hates Danvers.
And Danvers seems to have diddled the husband.
Diddled.
Yeah.
Yeah, Danvers is probably the reason that the Kate McKittrick and her husband got a divorce.
Right. And so then maybe Navarro had a hand in like revealing, like she spilled the beans on it, or like, I don't know, maybe she's involved in that. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think that's enough. I mean, I think that might be enough to get terminated.
Yeah.
I don't think it's enough for Danvers' disdain for her. I think whatever happened with Danvers' kid, if I recall correctly from the subtle one-liners, baby and dad, or son and dad died in a car accident. I think with that, Danvers over-reported or something like that in the case to try to really punish whoever was at fault for it. Whether it was a drunk driver that drove into or caused the accident, whatever it was. I think Danvers really was seeking vengeance and justice, and Navarro didn't roll over with it. And Navarro gave like conflicting testimony or didn't plant an evidence thing or something, whatever it was. And that's why I genuinely think like Danvers doesn't hold Navarro responsible for her kid's death or anything. I don't think it's that level of disdain, but I do think she shows the disdain of someone who got in the way of her getting vengeance.
And something in her personal life, not her professional life.
Exactly. And so that's how I feel. I mean, and that's like honestly baseless. That just goes off of like the way they interact and insult each other, as well as like, I don't think Danvers shows vehement hostility, but definitely shows like, essentially like strolling Flipper the bird, F you for getting in my way hostility all those years ago. So like, I mean, I again, I don't have any hardcore evidence, but I definitely think that's the theory I'm operating on here is that Navarro, good cop, and just wouldn't roll over with Danvers to really get her the judge. She thought Danvers was probably going too far to get the vengeance, which we kind of see, right? We see Danvers lose her shit a little bit episode 1 on the drunk driver. A little excessively.
Yeah.
Which makes me think like that's a little bit triggered.
Point for
yeah.
her.
So thoughts on that?
I think you could be right.
Okay. All right. What else you got for this episode? We see a little bit more of their background. What else do you feel like were kind of the ups and valleys?
Yeah, I think that we see more of. We also see flashbacks of Danvers before the kid passed away.
She looked happy.
She was a different person.
Long hair.
Yep.
Dancing, smoking weed.
Yeah. Wears asking for the manager haircut.
Yeah.
And so
pre-highlights in the hair.
Yeah.
Like she was a blonde. Now she gets her hair highlighted.
And so, but we definitely saw like they show that like she hasn't always been the way she is right now. And so I think, that gave us some good window into there. And there's some interesting stuff with the dad cop. What's his name? Peter's dad.
Yeah, Peter's dad, Mr. Hawkins. Hank Hawkins, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, dude, I feel so bad. He's getting scammed. He's getting scammed so hard. That chick's she's never. That's a dude. That's a dude in India who's never coming to America.
And he just is like he's sending money for the mom.
For the mom's medical bills. That sucks, dude. That hurts.
And he's also maybe been lying about how old he is because he's only taking pictures of himself from when he was older. Yeah. Because it's like, hey, send pics. It's like you send a picture of him when he's younger. Yeah. So either one, that was like a boomer joke, type of thing. Like he doesn't understand.
That she's asking for a wiener. They send pics of like your gooch. Like she's like, send more pictures of yourself. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll go take this picture off the wall and take a picture of a picture to send her.
And so either it's a joke like that, he just doesn't get it, or he's like...
I mean, they kind of went that way, though.
He's kind of like scamming, too. I'm like, I'm kind of older. Like once she gets here, she'll have to stay, But, yeah, so he's,
Can you imagine going from, like I can't remember what country they said she was from, but like just imagine you're going like from like a northern Euro-Asian nation, very like Slovakia-esque culture, Slavic culture, I mean, and you go to America and you're just in a darker, colder, more north version.
You just have a photo on your wall of Laguna Beach, you know, and like Gucci purses and stuff, and you get there and you're like, what, this is America? It would be quite the shock. But with him, there's something in his past too, like did he have Danvers' job before and he got demoted? Because like, why does he he has all those case files? He's not a super big fan of her.
The case files are like he keeps them without being reprimanded.
Yeah,
he kept them after a flood. Yeah, is what they said. Episode 1.
Yeah, but then he like doesn't need to turn them over.
Yeah. Also, Mom ran away. Mom's not dead, but Mom left Peter and Hank, which is definitely seems like a sore spot. But there's the way. We've seen Hank kind of be like, curmudgeon, go to hell, all right. But then when he finds out Peter stole the files and confronts him,
gets a little creepy.
He rebukes him with the slap, but then his eyes are like kind of cold. And he's like kind of 1,000 yards staring at it, and he's pretty calm in demeanor. And he's like, blood is thicker than water, Peter. Don't forget that. She's using you. And then like and then he leaves, right? And it's just one of those things of like, wow, you would have expected that guy out of all the people to be outraged, but he kind of resorted to some kind of like that's kind of the way he was raised by whoever his dad was, you know. But
and in these True Detective themes of like small town weirdness. And long family histories and stuff, like what does he know or not know, or like is he just disgruntled and so he doesn't want Danvers to have the files, or does he know more than what's going on, and so he's like he's a part of the spiral people,
right? The spiral people. Part of me thinks like that. This is almost stepping into like Stephen King levels of supernatural. You know what I mean? Like this idea of an old evil that symbols have power beyond what our brains recognize and comprehend. Like a literal symbol could sway the events that lead to the life or death of someone.
Right.
And it's weird because I'm wondering how they'll apply it to season 1, because yes, that spiral exists a couple times in season 1, but it's also something like, if Russ Cole spent time in Enos, Alaska, and he knows the symbol from time here, growing up here, and we see that it is a symbol that is recognized spiritually as something that might be older than Enos. What the hell does that mean? Then it's kind of interesting to me, like, how could that really make its way all the way down there? And then can they essentially rewrite without stepping on their own toes the justification for Russ going down to Louisiana in the 90s? Because the whole idea is like, if he knew about this symbol, you would think it would warrant a far more illicit reaction when it's found on the back of that hooker in season 1, and that he would have way more of a drive to like discuss and be like, this is a symbol of pedophiles, right? Like, but like, what really happens is, that was an awful McConaughey accent. What really happens is that he takes it and he acknowledges it, and he kind of sees it recurringly as imagery, and that's kind of about it. So to me, I wonder, like, is his whole persona down in Louisiana going to be represented as like acknowledgement of like, this thing exists and I'm just kind of hunting it. I'm hunting those who follow it because, and I say that mainly, the Tuttle Corporation. the Tuttle Corporation is in season 1, shell company behind this organization that takes women and children and has rape, murder, sacrifices.
In season 1, it's a school.
It's a school
right,
supported by the organization.
Right, schools. But even like Mr. Tuttle himself is in season 1.
Yeah.
You know, like the dude who's named after, right?
Yeah. And it's mentioned up here through like, you know, an NGO called Tuttle United, which does everything and is funding the Salal Center, which is supposed to be researching for a microorganism that can reverse aging, cure cancer. Which that part to me felt like way out of left field of like, no way they just revealed the crux. Like, no way they just revealed the golden snitch in episode 2. That seemed a little too early when that guy's just monologuing about what they were doing, right?
Yeah.
I was like, that's a red herring.
Immortality.
Yeah. They're looking for immortality. And they went crazy because the microorganism drove them insane. I was like, no, come on. That's not it. So all I said, the spiral, we see it repeatedly in this episode too, scraped into the ceiling of this voodoo witch trailer that this guy was living in to have his, you know, voodoo witch sex party at.
But the first time we saw it though was at the very beginning of the episode.
On the dude's
forehead, right?
Yeah, on one of their foreheads.
Yeah.
Someone,
the guy who lived.
They made a good point. When you're freezing to death and running from something, you don't stop to inscribe that symbol on your forehead. So who afterwards was there to go and do it?
Which I feel like they revealed it by the end of the episode.
It's Clark.
Right.
Yeah, Clark.
Which just really lost a lot of mystery for me.
I don't think it lost my mystery. Again,
really?
Red herring, bro. It's a red herring.
Yeah.
Because think of how many red herrings were in season 1 or season 3.
And here's the deal. Because one of the things I wanted to bring up was like, even like, is Clark alive? And I'm hoping they find him dead.
That we will, 100%. Clark will not be alive.
Like right away. Because he cannot be the dude.
He's not, dude. She's the dude. Whoever she is.
Right.
She's awake.
Right. But is she Annie?
No, dude, Annie's
driving him insane.
You think they'll go that far into like a spirit is driving them insane?
No, just that Clark was driven insane by this. Because then once again, in another season 1 tie-in is that we have the creepy ass dolls show up again.
Yeah,
you know, in
like
in
real
the trailer.
creepy.
Yeah,
like full size person stuffed doll creepy.
And like you were saying, in the trailer we see the spiral, and so they're just pulling like a lot of threads through, you know, and the
well,
keep going.
Well, I was going to say the biggest thread I think too is introduced early in this episode when we have Rose monologuing with Navarro about who's this freaking guy barefooted? Travis? Why was she asking Travis what he wanted? He's clearly not alive. He's clearly a hallucination. And what we find out is like it's very common in Enos, and it's multiple people this episode who say, you know what happens here. People see the dead. People see the dead all the time up here in Ennis. And Rose even says she thinks this is the place where the world comes apart at the seams, and you can see the dead a lot easier here because that fissure between our world and theirs is a lot narrower. And I think with that too, she reveals that Travis is known as Travis Cole, who is likely Russ's dad. Especially when you see the way Travis Cole was cast and his appearance, knowing Matthew McConaughey's appearance in season 1. So with that, I think there's a good indication, and I'll say this: I won't even be mad if Matthew McConaughey is not in the season. I'm all right if it's just like teasing the whole time. But I do want to say, like, I think this season will essentially reveal like a far larger plot of the symbol and its iconography with a cult that believes there's power in it. And I think that will like help play into like answering more questions to like season 1 and like the cult that we see there that we really like. End of season 1, you have no answers. All you know is that they got one bad guy who was kind of just a henchman for the bad guys.
Did Tuttle even get
No.
Did he get taken down years later because of the
video? I don't even know, dude. I don't even know.
Because the friend, and
I think if I remember right, they destroy. They don't turn it in because they think if they turn it in, the people in power will be the people they're giving it over to.
I need to go back and look because
we do got to watch season 1
because
again.
season 1 they like to play with time so much, and they obviously the interviews happening years down the road.
And Matthew McConaughey loves to fold cigarette cartons into shapes.
And it's happening, and then they're playing that stuff back in time, but then they get into real time, and then they come into real time. Then I just can't remember how the end of season 1 even ends with if Tuttle got what was coming to him or not. I can't remember at all. And so I don't know, are they going to bring that character back in? Maybe that's already answered because I can't remember the end of season 1.
I just remember essentially like they're leaving the hospital and they're like, did we get all of them? No, but we got that one. Yeah. And the whole monologue on in the beginning, there was only darkness. If you ask me, it looks like the light's winning.
Yep.
And it's just like, okay, hopeful, optimistic ending while Woody Harrelson pushes Matthew McConaughey out in a wheelchair to smoke a cigarette. So all that said, I guess I'm curious to see where it goes, but I don't think. I think if anything, this season will give us more support for the prosecution against the Illuminati like entity that exists out there of powerful conglomerate elites. I don't think Tuttle got brought down, dude. Because especially if you think about this, even if Tuttle got brought down, his company's fine. This is clearly taking place present day.
And it's bigger than him.
And it's way bigger than him. They're funding a mine. The mine is essentially keeping a town alive. And they're also, they're not funding a mine. They're funding the research center, the Salal Research Center, to find a microorganism to reverse aging. Right? Like, even if Tuttle got brought down back in 2012 or whatever, first season came out?
14.
They didn't win.
Yeah.
They're still out there doing their thing, right? And so still covering up. And I think the biggest thing, too, that we'll find out is that Annie is not good.
Really?
I think that's the biggest thing is like it's going to be a crisis of faith in the motive of our detectives. Navarro and Danvers are going to find out Annie is a villain. Annie had some kind of cover of this social justice warrior stopping pollution and fixing climate economy. And I think she's evil because she has the spiral. She brings in Clark.
Yeah.
Clark gets the spiral, weeps. He believes there is power in it.
Yeah.
I don't think
the spiral wasn't put on her.
I don't think Clark killed her. I think Clark realized someone more powerful, whatever the entity behind the spiral is, the organization, killed Annie. And he's been just struggling since, because we get all the stuff like he walks around naked.
Yeah.
He cries in his room. No one bothers him.
Especially because here's the deal. Why was the tongue in the research center?
Yeah.
I think the tongue got sent to Clark as a message
to
shut him. It's a double message. Yeah.
We silenced her, so you better shut
but then,
up.
Like, they give him the tongue.
I like that.
I think whoever it is, the bigwigs, shut him up with they gave him the tongue.
Dude, clip it right here. Clip it. Let everybody reference this. We called it right now.
And then I think that with that, part of that sent him into more of his psychosis. He was sent the tongue, but then why was the tongue still with him years later? I think because he was going crazy and he held on to it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and there's going to be things too that I just have to accept we won't get an explanation for. Like the fact that he says she's awake, all power goes out, even to phones. Total EMP wipe.
Right.
Also, who's running around in the beginning when the delivery guy gets there?
But the phones still work.
And the phones still work.
So the power went off to the phones, but they're still, it's like...
It was an EMP thing.
Right.
Or it was spiritual.
Yeah.
So it is hard because, honestly, I got to say, the show's doing a good job at making me question where the line is between scientific event, whether intentionally caused or circumstantial, versus, that's a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and because they do this thing where they, even in season 1, the experiences that are supernatural-ish
mm-hmm.
can be and are more explained through delirium.
Yeah.
Even rusts, like stuff, more through delirium than spiritual. And so
spiral birds.
And I was wondering why the one-eyed polar bear showed up to Navarro,
not Danvers.
and I think that lends validity to what you said about she was involved somehow with, she's carrying guilt for the boy's death.
Yeah,
because the one-eyed polar bear clearly has to do with the boy.
One eye. The boy calls his stuffed animal polar bear One Eye.
Yeah, and so it has to do with that boy. So it's like there's something in there. I just now thought of that, but it's because it's like, so yeah, she's involved with him because it showed up to her. Why would she care about see a one-eyed polar bear?
Yeah.
And who is she that's awake? I don't know. Is it a Leviathan that's about to rip out of the ground and like all the things?
Cthulhu.
And so but I don't know. This episode did maybe slow down a little too quickly, like adding the mystery. There's still a lot of mystery, but I'm gonna
challenge you on that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna challenge you with one thing.
Mm-hmm.
The intro. The intro video we get this episode is way different than the intro from the first episode. Way more shown and revealed in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Because of course they don't want to spoil stuff in the first episode.
Like the title intro.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
If you watch that title intro, I would really challenge you. Can you explain what you're seeing? Can you explain because every season that title intro tells the story, and you know way more about that intro by the end of the season than in the beginning. Right. I'll say this, like that intro, I can't explain it yet. There's a lot in it, especially that is very horrific in iconography of like some of it. I was like, oh, that kind of looks like the animal bones from the trailer. Some of it, I'm like, that we haven't seen that. That looks kind of like an altar where someone was just sacrificed. You know what I mean? It's like that's why I'm like, and I think the mystery is like we get the red herrings
because the first season did this too, where like they quote unquote caught the guy or found the guy.
Yep.
But turns out the guy was just a methed out tweaker.
Yep.
Who was semi-involved with a cult or whatever, you know, like so.
And remember the church that had the spiral on the wall and was like a broken down church, and they find out that pastor's traveling, and when they go to talk to him, we're like, dude, we're gonna find out it's all this religious stuff, man. It's like a Christian religious sex cult. Not any real legitimacy. He just essentially says like, well, I never owned that building. You know, Tuttle helped fund it, right? When they held the school on Sundays or whatever, right? And so like, there's so many red herrings in these, and ultimately season 3 is just a full red herring until the final episode. Yeah, when you find out she's alive, she's living her full life, and they didn't report that they found her for the sake of letting her live her life as a new person, free and like, you know, out of a bad home environment, right? And so everything, you know, I think is like right now, it's hard to tell what is real and what's not.
It feels like it's being buttoned up too quick, but that being said, they've done this to us before.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that we'll feel like silly about. We'll be like, why did I think that was an answer? When like I should know better by this point. Like that's definitely clearly not the answer.
Yeah.
But anyways, I don't know. I'm not solid on any of this because I think the show does a really good job of like keeping things up in the air and unpredictable, but keeping it logical and sensical. My other theory, this is my other theory that I'm throwing out there now, and I'm gonna stick to it. I'm not gonna change it. I have my theory about Navarro, Navarro Danvers, not changing that until I'm proven wrong. Not because I'm that confident in it, but just because I want to hold on to it, you know, and I want to be wrong. Every season we get the big shootout. Season 2 had that foot chase shootout where like a shitload of cops got iced.
God, I forgot about that. They got done. So.
And it was like the the shooter lit up that bus with people on it.
Oh, yeah.
It was huge. It was like everyone was dying, bro. It was awesome. I haven't ever finished season 2. I watched that like action scene because it's a lot of it is like big long tracking shots, and I watch it every once in a while because I'm like, this was really well done. Like this was clearly the best part of the season. Season 1 had the really big shootout with the 2 meth heads that had the like kids and women and the children. I mean, not the women. It was just the like children in the trailer that they were like looking to probably. I think it was put them into sex trafficking, if I remember right. They were looking for the clients for him. And there was like the big shootout with like trying to get those 2 guys. Season 3 was the native Vietnam vet, the Native American who was a Vietnam vet.
Oh yeah,
booby trapped his house because all the rednecks were coming for him because they thought he was the kid diddler, and he wasn't at all.
Yeah,
but he just knew. He's like, it doesn't matter. They're not going to listen. So I'll take as many as I can with me. And that was awesome. That was a great one. You know, had claymores in his house ready to just take people out. This season, I think I'm calling it now. I'm shooting my shot. Excuse me. I think Ryan Kautok, Annie Kautok's brother, I think he's going to be swayed by what the memory of his sister is as like this activist who was murdered by the mine. And I think the miners are going to do something where they're like, F this, and they're going to grab their guns to go have a showdown against the protesters against the mine. And I think Ryan is going to be like torn between memory of sister and like more evidence coming out about the case that like other miners probably did this. And I think he's going to be like, nope, you guys aren't killing anyone else. I think he's going to be the dude who's like,
there's going to be a big miner shootout.
He's going to be, he's going to be taking a stand against the miners. And I think we're going to have a scene where Navarro and Danvers are going to realize they have to put Ryan down. And it's going to be this weird, like, we're trying to get justice for his sister. But dude, we have to put this guy down. Like, cause he's not going to roll over. And I think that would be like a very weird tension of like, well, what's even the point now? Why get Annie justice if all the miners have been killed by Ryan? Ryan's dead. Like, what's the point?
And miners can be rowdy. Do you know where the term redneck comes from?
From your neck getting red in the sun?
That is what we all think. It's actually from Virginian coal miners who were unionizing and fighting against private mercenaries and National Guards types. And the way they identified themselves was with red bandanas.
Around their neck.
Redneckers. Yeah. So anyways, that's a super side story, but very interesting story. We may have to do a side, we have to do a Mick and Pat on that because it's anyways, rednecks. Comes from miners. Miners are rowdy, and they got guns. So we could have a big old miner shootout.
We can always see they hate the police.
And Alaskans,
like they hate Navarro.
And Alaskans have guns.
And they also hate the natives, like the locals in the village.
There's a racial tension aspect. There's a socioeconomic tension aspect. There's a cops and robbers aspect. There's a
it's already looking like a Wind River thing, right?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Did you see Wind River?
Yeah, it's Wind River-y. Yeah, for sure.
And so all that said, that's my theory for the big shootout this year. Because there's gonna be one. Come on.
Hopefully.
It's every season.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Closing thoughts. Anything that we didn't cover that you wanted to go over? Anything that you noted? I mean, still feels like there's a lot of things left out there up in the air.
Yeah, I feel like now we just have to let it unfold because they've, like we were saying a second ago, episode 2, they've already drawn us to a lot of conclusions that they're probably just going to upend. There's a whole bigger story going on here with Tuttle Corporation and nefarious activities, evil going on. And how many episodes is this? Do you know how many episodes the season's supposed to be?
I think every season is 10.
Okay. So we've got a long way to go. There's a lot that can happen in 10 episodes.
I do remember, like, every season I'm like, well, they've done it. It's wrapped up. And then I see, like, the episode number. I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
It's just episode 6.
Yeah. Yep.
It's not done.
Yep.
Which is, I love True Detective. So I got no beef with it. But I guess I do want to shout out something to anyone who's listening who might be wondering, like, I need something to kind of sustain me. I've already watched the other seasons. I need something to kind of keep me sustained or interested. Or maybe you're like, wow, I'm really digging this angle here of the supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
I have a show recommendation also on HBO, a 1-season show. It's very concise. There is discussion of a sequel season with a different kind of storyline, like True Detective, where it would follow a completely different thing with different characters. But unfortunately, it never happened because of COVID. But The Outsider. Jason Bateman. I can't remember everyone else's name. But honestly, phenomenal supernatural detective mystery season miniseries show. I've shown it to several people. I've yet to find someone who didn't enjoy it. It's very creepy, incredibly unsettling. And it's like it really is like when you see it, you're like, damn, that's what this season of True Detective is. It's this like line of supernatural or not until I have enough evidence to believe and you're looking through the eyes of a detective. And The Outsider just nails it. And it's also about a predator that goes after children, specifically children, and it uses children in order to destroy families. And it enjoys watching families be absolutely annihilated by the death of a child. And so it's like, it is great. Jason Bateman, phenomenal in it. But the rest of the cast also really holds up the show, in their scenes. And I don't want to spoil anything else about it because it is worth the one, like 10 episode watch. And I usually watch it about once every couple of years just because it's that good. The other one, if you like this Arctic horror, Inuit kind of folklore, spirituality stuff, you gotta watch The Terror, guys. I know I talked about it last week. Terror is a great show. Again, concise, 1 season, contained narrative, based on a true story, and reports of that. Like when you read the true story of the HMS Terror and the corpses that were found afterwards, it's real horror, and it's very supernatural, and it's very hard to like suspend any supernatural evidence provided for like what happened to those guys. So both of those, 1 season, concise stuff, 10 episodes each, I think. Very enjoyable, very well acted. I think The Terror is like one of the best acted like 1 season stories I've ever seen. Just in regards of like the cast is stacked. Like when you watch it, you're like, I recognize everybody. Like everybody in this, other than the minor league guys, I've seen in other movies, King's Speech, whatever, stuff like that. A lot of British people, right? But both of those, mystery, horror, set in different times, stuff, really good stuff. Anyways, Pat, I'll pause it there because I want to let you kind of wrap this one up, because I feel like you're a little bit more on the fence than I am. Yeah, no, I think that I feel like I've kind of forgotten how much they send you on a roller coaster now, and I'm hoping they don't let it fall apart, and I hope they don't ride the name and the season 1 too much. Yeah, it has to be, because here's the thing too. If, let's say, Rust comes on, McConaughey shows up, if he comes in and solves the mystery, it kind of really takes away from the other characters. Like they're pointless. They're like, not at all about the that just destroys the feminist agenda. He just comes in and has to get it fixed. A chauvinist white savior or whatever, which I wouldn't be opposed to him showing up like this next episode and just being in the rest of it. Maybe just because it would seriously destroy any amount of time that Navarro or Danvers gets. Oh, no doubt. And so, that being said, they're going to have, if he's coming back around or being used at all, they're really going to have to use him strategically and sparingly to work it out, or to set up a season 5 that is just like the rowdiest, right? Here's the way they would make everybody watch season 2. I don't know how season 2 ends, so I don't know who's alive or dead. But like literally, he shows up
Mm-hmm.
And like his mom, who maybe it's not his mom, but Rose is like, Travis, what do you want? Mama, it's me. Hey, Daddy. And like, she's like, Russ. And like, as she looks, he's like standing at the car, smoking a cigarette, 2-finger tosses it. And as he tosses it, getting outside of the driver's side of the car, Colin Farrell from season 2, right? Like somehow they connected because something in season 2 we weren't aware of aligns with the Tuttle Corporation. And then everyone would be like, all right, wait, hold on. Maybe they've been referencing season 2 this whole time and we should go back and watch.
If I remember season 2 right, it'll have to get very supernatural for Colin Farrell to come back on the show.
Was season 2 supernatural?
No, I mean, I think he bites the bullet.
Oh, does he? Yeah. I can't remember. Vince Vaughn gets out the other side of the Matthew McConaughey. Did he bite the bullet in season 2?
I think so.
Oh, who lived?
I can't
Rachel
remember.
McAdams. Rachel McAdams gets out the other side.
I can't remember. But yeah, I think that anyways, they're gonna have to use that very like carefully.
Yeah,
this
for
is
sure.
like all the fan fiction and articles coming out right now is just like 95% focused on Matthew McConaughey's return or something.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to. We'll see. We'll see what happens there and how it plays out. Tuttle Corporation. It's
got to be big.
Very big, scary thing.
Yeah.
Because also the Yellow King was never found or dealt with.
No, but all right. I'm not going to get into it. The Yellow King is a very real life, larger than one show thing.
I know
what the Yellow King? Okay, right,
So what I'm saying is like
he can't be found.
Right.
He's a deity basically. If this is really the Yellow King, right?
Right. And if it's supernatural, yes, he's larger than life. If he's not supernatural, he's still larger than life. And that there's
he's George Soros, so untouchable.
Right. Exactly. So there's I hope you show up next week. But they have a lot of potential for these big stories they've got a lot to play with, and I hope they did it well.
I hope they play
we're about
with
to find out.
I hope they find themselves in the park, in the playground, having fun. Because I think that's when the show's at its best, when it's just off the chains. All that said, though, this is a long episode for a single episode, right? But we really did kind of take everything from episode 1, episode 2, references to season 1, because our first thing was a first take on if we were even interested in watching the rest of the season. So before I get out there, the rest of our episodes, when we're reviewing the show and with beer, you can expect them to be about like The Last of Us length. This one, we just wanted to make sure we kind of put the picture together for everyone, and we're all on the same page as we're going forward. So with that, hope you all enjoyed. I'm really looking forward to the rest of the show. I'm looking forward to the rest of this beer, dude.
Yeah, I agree.
True Brewing is slapping, bro. But Pat, anything else that you want to sign off with?
The show comes out Sunday night at 9 p.m. So Mountain Standard, and so if you want to catch up and join up and listen to these as they come out and have watched the show, check it out. And the story is yet to be seen. This is only episode 2, so I'm excited to see what happens. And this will be of 10 episodes. That's a long time. We'll be in this for 2.5 months.
Yeah, free content, baby.
So it's a lot. So it's a lot. We'll be in here for a while. We'll be here till the leaves are popping out. So yeah, get caught up on the show and grab some True Brewery stuff because it's good.
Honestly, if you can't get it, just go on their website. They got merch. They got sick hoodies.
Oh yeah,
I almost bought one today. I was really close.
Should I? Is it a hoodie that I should wear while I help lead worship at the church?
There is some that you could get away with. There's some you can't, bro. There's like some that look straight up like, which is ironic. Like, I hope they hear this, and I hope they're not like, oh, these lame Christians. Like, I don't know what any of them believe, but I hope they hear this. They're like, I hope they know we really think they're awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
All right,
sure.
but anyways, thanks for joining us, Ken.
Yeah. Well, till next time.
Till next time.
Thanks for tuning in. If you love this episode, drop us a review. If you have qualms or comments, leave us a voicemail on our website. While you're there, check out our latest news, merch, and deals from our sponsors. Till next time, Ken.